Oh, hello, everybody. We are live again, back with another episode of DevHub Live. I am your host, Joe, and we have a fun episode today. Uh, we're doing a little bit different setup today. Normally, we actually will have a guest and we talk about some different things that are being built, but I felt like it was important to take some time and go over so many things that have been announced in the near ecosystem that we're going to dedicate this session to all of those things and how it specifically affects developers. That's the thing that maybe is kind of getting missed in some of this. All these great news things that are coming out, this town hall after this show that will be on, that you can kind of follow along and see all the different things that are happening in the ecosystem. But here at DevHub, we're focused on developers. And I want to talk to you about all these announcements that have happened over the past couple of weeks, especially at ETHDenver, that affect developers. At the end, we are also going to uh, highlight something that we're doing new here at DevHub called Behind the Code. And so we're going to do our first episode. I'm going to stream it live here. It's a short little video of going behind the code of different projects around the near ecosystem. And our first one here is going to be the near treasury, the new treasury dashboard. And so we're going to premiere that here at the end of this episode. And then we will also share that out on our socials. Before I jump into all the different news, please, down below our newsletter, sign up there. That's where you can stay up to date with all of this stuff that's been going on, all the different dev support things. Right now, near as the blockchain, that dev stuff is in one area, and near AI is in another area. So I put both sets of links down below. So if you're doing one or both things, you might have to have both documents open, kind of go from there. There's two separate chats, but if you go into the main chat /near dev at any time, that one alone will actually provide to you, any kind of feedback, and people can redirect you to anything that you might need. So let's kind of get started and jump into what's going on here. I think it says 10 items you need to know. I think there's actually probably put 12 by the end of it, but let's see. Okay, 10 items you need to know, recent developments. One of the first things that came up, and this is, I think, is something that's really interesting and important for people building AI. And Near AI announced the AITP, Agent Interaction Transaction Protocol. Really kind of at a high level, why is this important, and why is something that is newsworthy for developers? Well, one, it establishes a standardized protocol for agent to agent and user to agent interactions. So just like we use, on the internet, so HTTP, different, again, networking, we have TCP, all these different protocols. This one is specifically geared towards interacting with agents and how you transact with them. So a couple parts that are important here for developers. One is the integration of agent-based payments and data exchanged is really important. And as we try to standardize this process, you have these multiple different types of agents. Near AI obviously has their own framework, but there's other frameworks out there. And so the more that you can standardize that, they can all easily talk to each other, makes everyone's lives a little bit easier. So this was announced, and they're working on obviously not just integrating it into the Near AI stuff, but obviously working with others to make this part of the standard protocol type of thing. And again, if at any point during this as well, people have questions they want to throw up into the chat, feel free to do that as well. Also announced, confidential machine learning. And so what does this actually mean? And what does confidential have to fit? How does that fit into all this? Well, it's important because it enables a fully secure, decentralized AI computation. So the idea here is that the user data is going to remain confidential. So wherever that's being sent to, so there's no centralized system that is holding that data and absorbing that data and maybe reusing it, learning from it, whatever it might be. And for developers, again, I mean, this is where, if you start to think about what are some novel products we can start to build with AI, how do we start to take AI to the next level, something that's a little bit more advanced? And really for that, you need to have some level of confidentiality in there. I can't build healthcare product or certain finance things like that. Even my enterprise environment, where I just have like sensitive company data, that needs to be confidential. So this concept here hopefully will help facilitate trust for different companies building on this. And again, as you are building as a whole, this is an important piece to think about. Like, hey, can I start to build more advanced applications? We understand, hey, you can do trades, you can do Twitter bots, whatever. Now, can we actually build something that has a little bit more, I guess, unique value to it? Let's go to the next one here. And really for this, and this has come up a few times now, and I really would encourage you to go check out the AI office hours with Vela Network about this. We talked about this here with Matt Locke here on this show about some T hardware and what that kind of really means. There is also a great white paper that Ilya wrote around proof of response, and so definitely would check that out. But essentially, trusted execution environments, proof of response, allow you to verify computations. And so the key here is that, again, data can be private. You can still, though, confirm that it's actually happening. So when you send something to that is completely private and confidential, it's kind of like a black box, right? So you don't know exactly what is going on there. It allows you to then verify what's actually happening there. The proof of response is then a way to actually still monetize some of these services without actually having to fall into the trap of centralizing information. So because I'm more concerned about the proof of the response, and it's just, again, I don't need the actual response, just a proof of it, I can still start to monetize different components of the AI product without having, again, to be exposed to the actual sensitive data that's in there. So far we have a few things here that are all really around, again, privacy preserving, data ownership, things like that. So for builders, hopefully this is an enticing piece of like why this type of AI setup is different than just building on top of ChatGPT or something like that. Open AIs. All right, let's go to the next one here. Oop, I hid my slides. There we go. The Open Agent Alliance was announced, and I'm not going to name all the different companies and things that were involved, but basically here, it's a multi-chain collaborative ecosystem. The idea is to allow these systems to interact. This also fits into with the AITP piece as well, things like that. You can start to, again, gain access to shared infrastructure for developers. This is, again, more open source tooling. It reduces some of the complexity of working with multiple different systems. Everyone starts to get into the same page. Everyone's focused on privacy first. And on top of all of that, again, if we build in the things like AITP, with all of this, now you are standardizing that whole communication set and everything else. So now, again, we're pulling all this picture here together of building something that is user owned. And when we say, user owned and privacy and everything else, these are the pieces that all go into that to allow it to actually happen. So it's not just buzzwords, right? It's actually like these are the pieces that go into allowing that to occur. Now, so this is now for a developer, this is a little bit out of the privacy piece of it, right? This is now just simplifying some of the dev tooling. They are now opening up agent hosting on the Near AI Hub. This is powered by Vercel. There's a lot of agents are using this similar type of setup where you can easily deploy the code to Vercel and it runs from there. Near AI is following along that same pattern here. Easy to deploy and host AI agents. Again, basic using things like TypeScript and LangChain to get started. It simplifies development is the main thing, right? For developers, the big win here is that, again, a lot of developers are at least familiar with Vercel in some format. Even if you're not, it's a fairly straightforward process. The goal here is to lower the barrier to entry. So again, the idea really is more about focusing on the product and not the infrastructure. And that's a big piece that goes into all of this as well. Of like, we have these decentralized pieces and we're focusing on privacy. We're focusing on user owned information. And that infrastructure is complicated, and it gets really can get costly, and it becomes maybe like the focus of what you're building on when you're trying to meet those needs. But if all that stuff is already in place and available to you, well, there you go. Like now you have a really nice setup to just kind of get started and to make sure that your product is out there and you're focusing on the actual application piece, not all the other stuff. So this is another just kind of benefit to for developers around that part. Uh, Now, the near assistant with agentic capabilities, and this is something that has started to be uh, it was showcased. If you're following along on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, you probably have seen some of these different things posted and shared about as some ways of you know things that can be done like this. There's also a really awesome demo. Now it's been on a few different videos, both this what have you built this week in near AI on that video. You can see Eric actually going and ordering earbuds. This was also done at ETHDenver as well, where you could see again somebody going out and ordering like headphones from Amazon. A lot of headphones being ordered, and again, this is not just though like e-commerce though. You can really start to allow uh, your agent to interact more with the real world, and that's a big piece of that. Is not just the digital aspect of it. It is again being able to go out, make reservations, do different things. And while there are services that are doing that as well, again, this allows you to still have that privacy respect in doing that. Right now, like if you were to use Google's and yeah, they can go make a restaurant reservation for you, but what kind of information are you having to give up? Again, it's all this stuff about like where does your data sit? Who's then reusing your data? Stuff like that. So now you can still build with both privacy in mind and have that functionality to interact with the external world. Near intent integration. And so this is again for agents, this is a big deal, but near intent as a whole, we've done a few different episodes on it. I really encourage you to go back and watch some of them. We had a great one with the CTO from Aurora last 2 weeks ago about like near intents and what that really means, how they really work. Um, it's a really interesting piece of technology of how that is, again, it's more than just DeFi. And so having this now inside the agents to interact with as well starts to add that payment flow, right? So now you start to have this process of can I handle payments in a way that allows my agent to act autonomously, but as well as I have some maybe control. It's still through the blockchain, you still all that stuff. And now you can still have all the benefits of near intense. And if you haven't tried it, I encourage you to at least try to see how it works for you. You can now put that into your AI system. And so again, it's all of these rails so far that like I've been talking about here, this news that just came out is really about like developers can now not only move faster in development, but they have more at their disposal to actually um really like go out and make something that is novel, and that is something that is of use, and that people are going to say, oh yeah, this is a product that really starts to benefit me. Where before a lot of the agent stuff was just focused on hey, let me interact as a bot and I'm going to just talk back and forth. It's going to reply to Twitter. It's going to maybe do a little bit of research for me. Now we're starting to get into, much more real world use cases that harness the power of AI much more so that it is a net positive. No code builders and no code builders really is something I think that is a big piece of all of this. One, it's obviously allows for rapid prototyping. It also allows for those who are not full-time developers to start to actually put together agents. It allows, again, for different parties to get involved in, what an agent could start to do, and you start to allow you to have a marketplace as well for those who are building those tools that a no code agent could actually leverage. So you have all these different pieces here, and so code agent builder is a really exciting piece, and that was announced as well. There was again some really great demos, and I really want to highlight. And maybe I'll try to bring it up here too while we're talking. But on YouTube, on the Near Protocol YouTube, and I will share. I'm going to share that link here. There are really some excellent presentations that came out of here that, for me, I think highlight and just show off like exactly uh, what is possible. Here, I'm going to share this right now. There you go. So if you can see this, definitely go there and check that out. Um, of what's possible with agents, and it's just scratching the surface of that. And again, I want to highlight that these demonstrations that were being shown, and things like, again, like buying from Amazon, which was done there live, it was a real actual demo. It actually placed the order, all of those things. It's important to start to see what that looks like in interacting with the real world. It hopefully sparks some ideas for you as a developer, as a builder, as a product designer, but also to understand like what is some of the power here of this technology, and how do we start to put those pieces together. Okay. Now, anytime we start to deal with you know making payments and things like that, there really needs to be some infrastructure that is around fiat and crypto on and off ramps and things like that. There was a lot of initial stuff highlighted here. There's a lot more coming this year that is going to be tied to this. I really think that this is something that, as a whole, and as a uh, you know as a ecosystem, this is so important that like is being addressed, uh that there are ways for you and for people who are going to use your AI products to spend money, to use money in different ways without having it to feel very, very crypto-y. Doesn't have to feel like I need all this, like I need a seed phrase on these wallets to make it really simple and all that. Also, we want people to be able to pay for stuff. So things, right, when things are free all the time, well, there has to be money being made somewhere. It's usually on your data. Well, if this is focused on data privacy, we need to be able to monetize other pieces of it. This is all, again, fitting in together of being able to lead to some of that as well. So I think that's a really important piece here with all this as well. Bowen announced, if you didn't see it, again, this was kind of like dropped somewhat quietly, but also I think it's really picked up steam here. But new version of chain signatures, reduction latency, removed of charging for signature requests. There's some stability improvements, and really, I mean, the answer here is obvious, right? It's better user experience. It's something that is where, if you are using chain signatures right, I mean, anytime you can speed that up, that's awesome. So 20% reduction latency is great. Removing an extra cost is great. All those type of things. And then they announced that ETHDSA is going to be supported soon as well. So that's going to allow some more chains like Solana to come on as well. A big announcement that came as well a little bit before the start of ETHDenver was OmniBridge. And there's a whole nice long blog post about this. But let's kind of just quickly go over what this actually is and talk a little bit about kind of just how this all fits into some of the stuff that's happening here with near intents, and also with some of the AI agent stuff. So OmniBridge is a way to have cross-chain transfers using both chain signatures, MPC technology, and getting away from the traditional bridging model to send money between different chains. So if you're going to do swaps, if you're going to be able to do any kind of cross chain stuff, there needs to be some kind of maybe bridge underneath somewhere. And the Omni bridge allows you to leverage that. It's something where you as a developer don't have to worry about again the infrastructure piece of it. It's just being able to go and interact with the Omni bridge itself, and that's I think an important part of all this as well, because again, when you as a developer are not beholden to building infrastructure, it gives you that opportunity to really think bigger, I feel like. And I also feel like it's something where it gives you the ability to say, okay, I'm not worried about this part anymore. I just want to build the best possible product. So you have that opportunity as well. I'm going to share here. Let me pull up my screen. All right, where are we here? Let's see here. It's kind of small. Let's fix that. Let's do this. There we go. So yeah, here is. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Here is the from near one. Just to be clear, it is not under the near. GitHub it's under near one. But you can see how all of this works. There's documentation that is linked to it as well. It breaks down some transfer times here. It shows again here are the APIs, here's the different structure. All the stuff that you need to know about the Omni Bridge is here. I encourage you, if you are a developer, to go and check this out. You can see how this is, what networks are supported and how it all kind of goes together. And again, there's also here SDKs for both JavaScript and Rust. So you can get started with this as well at any time. So definitely worth checking out. All right, let's bring this back up. Here we go. All right. So going back here, there was more than 10. There was a lot of stuff here that I think is again highly beneficial to developers. I also feel like that this is something that I want to make sure that we are, as developers, staying up to date with everything. And uh, one of the things here really is going to be that as you build and there's a lot of changes happening, that you are staying up to date to see that hey, such and such thing might have changed. There might be some breaking changes, hopefully not too many, but also not just that stuff. There's more and more opportunities, and that's what I thought like it was important to kind of recap here, because again, going through here, things like again, you know, being able to start leveraging some of this stuff. You know, looking at what's happening with the Open Agent Alliance, being able to start leveraging different pieces of it, agent hosting, all these different items here allow you to start to speed up your own development and start to save you both time and costs, hopefully. Um, so that's where I think it would be really great to uh, just make sure that like you are trying some of the stuff out and staying up to date with it and all that other stuff. As we kind of pull some of the pieces here together, I want to again really make sure that you are checking out also too here. I'll say I should pull up the docs because if you haven't seen these recently, a lot of great changes here have happened. Let me pull this back up. The Near AI docs right now is really exciting because there is been updates to the quick start, so you can see you can get started really pretty easily. A lot of the different things that we've talked about and highlighted in this episode of news is all in here. This isn't a great now tutorial of how to leverage a documentation agent using RAG. There are information about models in fine tuning, assistance and what that starts to look like through different APIs. All this stuff is in here. Also, the Near AI API information is here as well. So definitely stuff to check out and be aware of. So right now, I want to queue up the first behind the code, and one of the things that I want to preface this new video, and then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit afterwards as well. Is I wanted to start to highlight 4 products in the Near ecosystem. You know what actually goes into building some of this stuff. We celebrate when things go live, when things go to mainnet, but sometimes we don't understand the work that actually goes into it. I also think it's good to learn from other projects to see like how are they integrating some of these different tools, how are products actually leveraging uh, things like blockchain, something simple. How are they integrating payments? How are they integrating like on chain transparency and stuff like that. So I wanted to start to highlight that with different products. This is our first episode of doing that, and so we hope to do more of these. So I'm going to play this, and then we will come back and talk a little bit about this video as well. So enjoy the first Behind the Code episode 1. Welcome to the first episode of Behind the Code. I'm your host, Joe from DevHub. I'm excited about this first episode because we're going to talk with the Near Dev in-house team that built Treasury Dashboard. This product was built in-house for internal needs, is now becoming a full-fledged product here in the Near ecosystem. We're going to talk to the product owner and some developers about the process of coming up with this idea, about actually building the product, technology it's leveraging, and how it's using Near to execute on its ideas. So let's go behind the code.
One of the problem that we saw is that many DAOs and small teams that have a budget need an easy way to manage and distribute their funds. And they're often complex processes when it comes to approving and distributing payments. There are multiple steps and tools involved, as well as stakeholders, which can make it difficult to track everything in a transparent way. With Near Treasury, you can easily collaborate with your team, track the progress of payment activities, and keep your treasury secure. It is fully decentralized and open source.
Just
It
a
is
little
built
bit
on
of history that there was a Sputnik DAO, a more generic smart contract that allows you to be very flexible as, again, the very solid foundation for building DAOs, which is fairly simple in on the concept level. It's a contract that records the proposals, can list the proposals, and can you can define the rules how and who can vote for the proposals. That is what the contract does, and we leverage just a subset of Sputnik DAO, but we wanted to make it really simple to use, and that was the original goal.
My name is Peter Salmonsen. I've been in the Near ecosystem since the very beginning. My kind of way into this was through this project I have called the WebAssembly Music. For the Treasury tool, this is a management tool of funds. This is a plan for making sure that these funds are distributed to whoever have been contributing to the ecosystem in some way, that we have a tool for managing all the funds that have been applied for, that they want to get a compensation.
So I'm Mega. I am working with DevHub for almost 1 year now. I am a front-end developer. So I majorly work on their portal. They can customize their own theme, their own coloring, their own pages, whichever they want. They can even add more features by accessing their boss widgets. So it's all in their hands. We are not controlling anything. We'll just give them a basic template which they can access, and then they can go ahead from there.
So, what we found over the last couple years is that we've been trying to manage a budget and work in a decentralized way with a lot of contributors. And it's actually really hard to make payments as a team because you need to make sure that there are the right levels of permissions in place, and a lot of existing tools out there make that process really difficult. So we found that our team was experiencing that, and when we talked with other partners in the ecosystem as well, they shared similar issues. And we've tried coming up with many manual workflows and lots of tools to work around that. Long term, we obviously want to expand that beyond the Near ecosystem. We want anyone that's trying to do decentralized treasury management.
So we have built it on BOSS, the blockchain operating system on Near. We chose it because of the self-create instance. What happens is we have an account where all the widgets are deployed, and then any user can come and create their own instance, which will be deployed onto their own account, which they can handle, which whose keys will be with them. And for the indexer, we have built a indexer using the Nearblocks API to which helps in querying the blockchain.
So the blockchain operating system that has been around for some years now, and it offers a consistent way, a secure way to deploy all these components in that makes up the user interface. And we also leveraged Web 4 technology here, which is also making it possible to not have to use any other components. In this case, we are using some other components as well, but it actually, Web 4 is something that enables to be able to create a full stack application entirely on Near. So you don't need another cloud hosting service. You can build your backend in a smart contract and the front end also in the smart contract, because this Web 4 gateway will serve it as a web page, what you have in your smart contract. We are using different RPC providers here. We are using services for giving us transaction history, which is obviously needed for treasury management. Then we need to track the funds at all times, the funds that we have staked, the funds that are in different kind of tokens. We are using various services for that. This management tool were from the very beginning that the purpose of Near was to really, in the beginning, it was AI, but they needed a way to pay all the contributors, all the developers, all the people in the ecosystem. And I think this this treasury management tool is actually fulfilling that purpose.
We also wanted to solve our own pain point. So we also wanted to have the treasury. We wanted to be efficient at managing it. And that's where we started. They're actually using the framework called BOSS, Blockchain Operating System, on Near, where those all widgets are stored on blockchain on different contract. It's called Social DB. We store it there, and there is a way to render those widgets. So the whole UI that you will see when you visit, when you create your treasury, Near treasury, are pulled from and also what we leverage is so-called Web 4. Web 4 is the technology that also built on Near. On the application that you deploy to the blockchain, you can define functions that external users can call. So Web 4 leverages the second type of functions, view functions. So when you define in your application the function with the name web4_get, it expects to receive the HTTP headers, and it can return HTTP response. Obviously, it can the function that you deploy lives on the blockchain, so there is no native way to interact with your function directly. In case of the treasury application, it's fully public, and everyone on the internet can view it, can understand which proposals were submitted, who submitted them, who voted for them.
I think one thing that is very clear, unique on here is this Web4 technology that we can serve a web page from a smart contract. You could probably do that on other chains too, but not as rich. And what we have on here also with the smart contracts that are WebAssembly based, that means that we can write them in quite a bit of we can write them in different languages. We use Rust though, because there are many reasons for that, good reasons. It's a great language to create such functionality in. And
The power of the blockchain is in that you basically have all your apps always available on chain. So it's if with a growing number of applications deployed there, you can build the interactions between them and make cross-contract calls, and specifically Sputnik DAO relies a lot on those external applications such as lockup contracts, multi-sender, and composing those together, it makes the app even better. So it's more like a Unix approach. One tool does one thing great, and then you compose them into the pipelines of that would solve your use case. This is exactly the case for Near Treasury.
So what we have found to be super helpful in the journey of developing a product is to ship fast and talk to customers fast. So throughout this entire journey of developing this Near Treasury, we talked with various teams with different contexts and gave them access to come and take a look. And that was really helpful because we realized so many assumptions that we were making on our own use case that did not apply to another team, which made us really take a step back and think about how do we solve for the most number of users, which is a hard balance sometimes to find. But we continued to do that. Every time we found a new issue or problem, we implemented it, gave it back to the user for testing, and continued that way. And that's something I really think that any team that's developing a product, whether in Web3 or not, should be doing, is like always keep the users in mind. And I'm sure that we're going to find more users that are now coming onto this product in the beta that will show us things that we haven't thought about that we'll try to incorporate. And we really want to make sure that this product is making people's lives better and easier. And that's really the core of it at the end of the day. So every time. Near Treasury is a multi-signature treasury management solution for decentralized teams to manage their digital assets securely. And whether you're a grant recipient, DAO, or finance group, we found that managing funds as a team can be surprisingly complex. And that's why we focused on building an intuitive UI that makes it easier for teams to customize their voting policies and manage their funds together. Now, to create a new treasury, you can head over to neartreasury.com and click the Get Started button. And this will take you through the creation flow of setting up a treasury and adding members. Now, once you have your treasury ready, here are some of the things you can do. First, when you load the dashboard screen, you'll be able to gain financial clarity and see things like your treasury's total value, token balances, and transaction history. Now, if you want to collaborate with your team on payment requests, you can head over to the Payments tab, and here you can create and approve requests and execute them with multi-signature approvals. Now, stake delegation is where you can do the same thing, but for staking requests, unstaking requests, and withdrawals. And settings is where you can customize permissions and settings like voting thresholds and duration. Now, security and transparency are super important, and that's why we built Near Treasury using the Sputnik DAO v2 contract, which helps keep everything decentralized and on-chain. And we really hope that this tool will make it easier for teams to focus on what they do best without dealing with all of the overhead of managing funds.
Cool. I was really excited to show that. I hope everyone learned a little bit something about what went into building your treasury. It's a really awesome product. Great feedback of it so far, and we have shared that video. If you want to go back and watch any of it, it will be on our YouTube as well as on our social accounts as well. Something that I want to really again emphasize is if you are not following along with our newsletter, please make sure you're doing that because a lot of great stuff is happening, including we're putting out something like more quests. We did a quest for our 50th episode. It got a lot of great feedback, and it was designed by the one and only Frohl, and I have him here to talk about the next quest. So I hope everybody is paying close attention to that. Vlad, nice to see you. I'm excited to keep talking about quests.
Hey Joe, hey folks, happy to be here. But before we dive into that, I would suggest we start with the old quest and share how it all started, where it is coming from, and I will also share the author solution for the quest. We'll see. Let me share the screen so. Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Amazing. So it all started with this newsletter issue number 50. So we wanted to celebrate it somehow, and this quest was part of this theme. And it was widely announced, and I was surprised that not many people actually tried to solve it. In fact, this issue was delayed a little bit, and I saw that some folks started to discover the quest before it was formally announced. Yet they couldn't really crack it. So only after the newsletter went live, this is where you could learn about the quest details and where it is actually deployed, which contract you need to interact with, and the source code. The quest was basically based on NearAI tag and the very new Python contract SDK. So the agent code was deployed, was fully visible here, no secrets, 40 lines of Python code. I tried to keep it very short and easily understandable. And I hope people also found the power of NearAI agents and how simple they are. And the contract was also written in Python, and it is also fairly small, with basically when you interact with this function, it was creating an event to NearAI agents, and they were executing my agent as per the metadata here. And threading in the message the user would provide in the input and request ID just for the reference if needed. So data message was passed. So with that, the quest began, and the objective was to basically somehow trigger this function, NearAI jailbreak, because that function was checking that it was executed by the account itself, account that is deployed, this function, this contract is deployed to, and then if that is the case, it would parse the account ID from the input and send 15 near to that account ID. So what you had to do was to crack it and convince the agent to give out you 15 year. And during the event, hold on, where is this account? During the event, I saw that there were a lot of attempts. Overall, we had over 200 transactions, people trying to crack it. And even after it was solved, some people were also trying to interact with them. Just, I think, finding the best solution for it, even without the 15-year on the budget. It's and I would say it's great to see it live when it was like one submission at a time, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
But then the community, we have this amazing community in here, build this amazing dashboard showing when the
Dashboard's
attempts
awesome.
were coming,
Yeah.
how many jailbreakers were involved, how many attempts were made, and even at the end we have this obviously the winner who first hit the right words to the agent, so it can so it give out the 15-year. So overall, I think it was very well received. A lot of people just enjoyed it. From the comments, I received a lot of positive feedback, and that is why today I wanted to. That is why later in the week I decided to make even such quests every week, and I will announce the new quest today.
Nice.
And hold on, let me stop sharing for a bit. The objective for the quests, I just want to also clarify that up front. I think there are plenty of DeFi tap me quests that you just kind of interacting with the UI, but these quests are different. They require technical experience and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want you folks, the devs who are cracking it, and actually, like I'm the only one who's preparing them right now. So it's not limited. Like even Joe could give it a try. I wouldn't, take his time for this, but maybe one day we will have a recap again on
For sure.
and we'll ask Joe to go through and crack them all. But overall, the idea is to build it as a learning experience. So I'm not trying to make super clever, hard to guess what needs to be done. I'm always providing enough clues, enough information about where to start, like use near CLI, look there is a contract, and there is agent, here are the code, so it's all in transparent and public. I'm not trying to hide anything from developers. So
right.
The idea is to, you can and you should just read through it, build your ideas, where it can be, what the angle can be, applied to avoid the current safeguards, the simple safeguards, and how to hit that one safeguard that is missing. And I will prepare some sort of map of all the features I want to cover eventually with quests, like cross-contract calls, cryptography, agents, state of the contract, and like some common Web3 attacks like reentrance attacks and stuff like that. And I want to basically create a fun way to learn near tech through those challenges. Joe, do you want to share maybe your perspective? Did you have a chance to try the quest?
So I didn't want to do this one in case I accidentally got it. I didn't want to like be like win. That causes the whole other problem if I got it. But I did check it out. I love the idea of quests, and I know we tried a little bit version of this about a year ago, and I'm glad that we're bringing it back with this different approach because it's such a fun way to learn some of the different features, and that's really what I like about it. And I love this first one that you did too because it integrated like near AI agents, the new Python SDK on the contract, all these different parts of it, and then it also brought in the fact of like, oh, like sometimes you can like trick the AI into doing something, and so that piece of it, understanding like how these AIs work, and so the layers of understanding is such a cool piece to me. So that's why I love all these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, back to the previous challenge and the author solution to it. So and maybe hold on, let me share the screen once again. So let's see what other well, first of all, if you still want to give it a try, stop watching right here and maybe skip forward 5 minutes ahead. But this and yeah, 3, 2, 1. I'm going into the solution. So we needed to trick the Near AI to respond with the message that starts with "I love Near." Then there would be a new line, and from the new line will be some piece of code, which coincidentally in the implementation of the agent, if the result was starting with I love Near, would call eval on the remaining part of the string. Obviously, you wouldn't see this. Like I discourage anyone to use eval in real code.
Right? Yes, it's not production safe.
Yeah. So and what many people tried first, they tried to call like transfer 50 near from account. So it was account dot send near or send, I think send near, and specify their account ID. That obviously doesn't work because the access key that is used here is a limited access key. So it could only call the functions. And we could confirm that if we would go to access keys, there is this access key that is allowed to only call the contract itself and only these two methods, near underscore response and near underscore jailbreak. So the near underscore response is what is called by default. So near underscore response would be called here with the parameter of well, with these parameters basically. Request ID that was provided in the event. The account ID is the signer ID is also part of the message payload from the contract event that I showed before. So what then the next and actually the winning solution was to actually duplicate this piece of code and just call the near AI jailbreak directly. So that's what we saw here, I guess. So yeah, the send money. That's the attempt that was not working, and this is the attempt that at least seems to be the close to the solution. As you see, it was calling account call with a specific method name encoded here. But it does work, and it's as I said, creativity is the key, and it's not that far away from the author solution. The author solution would be to ask the AI to basically say the phrase "I love Near" and on the following line put exec method name equals to this near AI jailbreak. Why it works is because if you put it into Python, say method name equals to blah, and then you have eval, as we remember from that code. And we put in the text the, let's put it to the triple quotes and let's see, escaping so it's more clear. Exact this way. So while it seems like nothing has changed, if we would print method name, now it would not be blah, but actually near jailbreak. Yep. So that's pretty much it. And that was the way to solve it. And then the execution will continue. And instead of calling the contract ID with the method name near AI response, it would call it with the method name equal to near AI jailbreak. I wouldn't. I think there was a lot of fun for people to think through the challenge, to understand it, and also try to convince Agent. Agent would start with some unnecessary words in the beginning. You need to convince it to, do not output anything else, only this, what you want. So it required some back and forth. But overall, it was manageable.
Yeah. That was great. Very good.
Yeah, and for the quest for the next week, I don't want you to all to have no fun and of this evening today, and then basically spending all the evening cracking the quest and in a fear that somebody else will solve it before you even have a chance to read and learn about it. So I will post it on Friday evening at specific time. It will be 4 p.m. UTC. So Friday evening, the instructions will be ready, and Saturday, I'm not sure. Let's try Saturday, also 4 p.m. UTC. That's the time that the solutions will be able to be submitted. So the quest will be crafted in such a way that it will be deployed on Friday. You will be able to learn and think about the problem for a day, and next day you will have you will know where to start. No, we will not do this exactly this way. So on Saturday, it's not going to be exactly 4 p.m. UTC. You will have to learn the details from the instructions. They will be roughly 4 p.m. UTC. It is also part of this technical solution that you will have a chance to inspect in that whole day before to understand when and how, where to start. And that's where
I like it.
Leave it.
I like it. And if for some reason you missed all that, we'll throw in the newsletter too if it still hasn't been solved yet. You can definitely check it there. Awesome. So make sure you're following our socials. So that's a big piece of that. At near DevHub is our social handle, and it will be all on there as well. Awesome. Really great stuff. I really appreciate you coming on and doing these, and look forward to checking out this next one.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well,
have fun.
All right. So take care. Thanks so much. Bye. Great stuff. We're going to wrap up because the town hall is coming up next here live on depending what stream you're watching. And we will be back next week at our normal time, and look forward to seeing you then. Bye, everybody.